Well, let's hear a little more now of the plans of the various political parties when it comes to housing. And I'm joined now by Darragh O'Brien of Fianna Fáil, Thomas Gould of Sinn Féin, Paschal Donohoe of Fine Gael, Mick of People Before Profit and Solidarity, and Marc of the Green Party. I'll ask you first, Darragh O'Brien. I think you're hoping to deliver about 40,000 homes this year. We need 70,000. You're asking people to believe that next year housing delivery will be turbocharged. And you want them to vote for you on that basis?
Well, we've actually shown Fianna Fáil and government how we can bring housing from was about 20,000 homes a year upwards to the high 30s this year, touching 40,000. That's 125,000 new homes delivered since Fianna Fáil came back into government. And we do need to accelerate that. We are making progress, but that needs to increase. We recognise challenges are still there. But across all tenures, like I back home ownership, I want to help people buy their own homes. And thankfully now we're seeing about 500 first-time buyers buying their own homes now, using the supports that we brought in, like the First Home Bridge the Gap scheme, like the Help to Buy grant, which are actually going to extend to the end of the decade. But we also needed reform of our planning system to ensure that we can actually get more homes and infrastructure built. And that's why we worked so hard in government to actually bring about the planning reform that we need through the Planning and Development Act. And that, I think, will be a game changer. But coupled with that, we need additional investment. So like the Land Development Agency will provide another $4 billion to deliver more homes. I believe they can build another 25,000 homes.
So all of those are in your plans. Thomas Gould, Sinn Féin's plans are vastly different to what the government parties have suggested. What do you want to do? You want more social and affordable homes, but you're still looking at delivering what, about 370,000 homes, much like the government parties? 300,000
homes. What we're looking at delivering is 75,000 social homes a year, over 5 years, 50,000 affordable, 115 private, and then a mixture of rental and one-off of another 60,000. What Sinn Féin are trying to do, the Housing Commission report said we need a radical reset in housing policy. Owen O'Brien is the only potential Minister for Housing who's produced a document, 112 pages, which outlines our radical housing plan. And that is the main difference between Darragh O'Brien and Paschal Donohoe. We're looking to be radical and deliver housing. And just to give you an example, right now, Darragh's talking about affordable housing. In Grange and Douglas, to buy an affordable house is €410,000. Sinn Féin will deliver it in Cork for 250. That is the difference. And the last point I make, the average rent in Cork today is €25,000 per year. How is that affordable?
Paschal Donohoe, I'm going to ask you about this because Fine Gael have had 14 years in government. You've just heard rents have doubled. Owning a home is further away for most people, and we've 14,700 people homeless. Is it time to give somebody else a go?
So we took over an economy that was bankrupt, with construction sector shattered. And during our time in office, we've seen between 160,000 to 180,000 homes built. We just saw there a few weeks ago that 50,000 homes have been commenced within our economy, within our country. The Land Development Agency was set up by Fine Gael. Help to Buy was brought in by Michael Noonan, improved by myself. And we've worked collectively within this government to make progress, acknowledging that we need to do more and build more. There's nothing radical about the Sinn Féin plan. There's nothing radical about being reckless. They're claiming they can build these homes.
They're looking at more social and affordable. That's not reckless to lots of people.
Oh, but the question is, where are you going to get the money for it to do it? Because what they're saying they're going to do is build all these homes with money that we may not have, and they're asking the private sector to deliver those homes.
You're talking about
by getting rid of the Land Development Agency at the same time
money.
And getting rid of Help to Buy.
You're talking about using Apple tax money to build homes.
So that's money that we've already received.
You're talking about using that money as well. How would you use it, and how would it be any different to these plans?
We would support the setting up of a state construction company. We think the Apple taxes should be used to provide seed capital for that. We think that it should be given the job of really tearing into the building of social and affordable housing. We need to take the profit motive out of housing. Too much profiteering, people making money from the housing crisis. Now, just to give an example of this, when I stand up in the Dáil and I look across at the Fianna Fáil benches, for every 3 Fianna Fáil TDs I see there, one of them is a landlord. When I look over at the Fine Gael benches, for every 4 Fine Gael TDs I see, one of them is a landlord. Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are absolutely tied in with the speculators, with the developers and the landlords who are making profits from this housing crisis, and that needs to be tackled.
Marc Cathasaigh of the Green Party, your policy says it is to build homes in the right places, and you say that only the Greens can be trusted to deliver homes where they are needed so that people don't have to travel in their cars and that they don't have to live far away from where their jobs are. So would you say that perhaps TDs shouldn't be objecting to 300 homes in somewhere like Dublin?
I think that matter has been comprehensively dealt with by Francis Duffy already. As he explained, the housing proposed development there was in contravention of the council's own development plans.
It's a problem though, isn't it, TDs objecting to houses?
I do want to talk about that issue of transport-oriented development. I think that's extremely important because we need to develop homes in the right areas. We're very committed to doing that, building on transport links that are already there. Great example just behind us here in Kent Station, where the LDA on Horgan's Quay is developing 300 cost rental apartments that is going to sit right beside Kent Station. They're the right homes in the right places, and that's what we're really committed to.
Paschal Donohoe, you're a minister who has used the word prudence a lot of times. You're talking about, if you get back into government, extending the first home scheme, the first buyer grants for people, and also increasing the rent credit. Does that not just fuel inflation when it comes to rent and when it comes to house prices?
The Help to Buy scheme is one that's focused on building new homes. It's only available to new homes.
But it increases the prices.
Well, actually, the recent assessment that has been done of the central bank says if it has an inflationary effect, it is minimal. It plays a role in helping people assemble and get their deposits.
But even a minimum effect in a housing crisis isn't great, is it?
But what's going to counteract where we are with inflation is actually building more homes. It's more supply. I mean, there is a choice here. Fine Gael are saying that we will give you back up to €40,000 of your own money versus Sinn Féin, which is around €4,500. And by giving that confidence to the private sector in particular, that deposits are available, in turn that increases supply from the private sector alongside a government and a state that's investing in building more homes, which is why we also want to build more social and affordable homes. And it's why it's so welcome, contrary to the rhetoric from Mick Barry, it's vital that we've 25,000 social homes that are in the pipeline at the moment. That's what a government that cares about building homes directly, accompanied by a private sector that can also deliver homes, is the way we get to 300,000 homes in 2030.
Darragh O'Brien, you'd also extend those schemes. So what makes you any different from Fine Gael, or are you the same?
No, we're not, but we've worked well together, and I think all parties here, I would hope, recognise the challenges that we have. So it's incumbent on parties to put forward what they would do. What we have shown through the Land Development Agency is that we can turn idle state land around to deliver homes for our people at affordable prices. We're building more...
Well, some people would dispute whether they're
just
affordable.
finish on this. We're building more new social homes now than we've done in 50 years. When Fianna Fáil came into government, there were no affordable homes. This year, we'll exceed our affordable housing targets. We'll deliver over 6,500 affordable homes. Now, what I do want to say, if I could, just in relation to Sinn Féin, they have put forward a plan that the foundations of it are built on sand, because their whole core is this leasehold arrangement where you build a home that you don't own the land it's on. And the banks won't even confirm that you can lend towards it.
But they haven't said they won't either.
No, well, in fairness, I think if I was to bring forward a policy that was half-baked like that, I would be rightly criticised. Because what I'd say is that if we just conclude on this, what I would say is Fianna Fáil back home ownership, we want to help people. That's where the measures we brought in are on average €100,000 for a first-time buyer. So if I was a first-time buyer watching in here, I would be really worried about Sinn Féin and about Mick Barry getting into government, because they would pull the rug from
us. They're planning, they're saving for their deposit, and they're hoping to get tens of thousands from those schemes. Are you going to pull the rug from underneath them?
Well, under Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, house prices have risen by over €100,000.
First-time buyers.
And just to let... Paschal was talking about Michael Noonan. Michael Noonan allowed vulture funds come into the country, and they've done nothing about it. They're buying up apartments all over the place. They're allowing speculators, land hoarders. The difference with Sinn Féin is we would stop the vulture funds from buying up homes. And just going in relation to, we would double the delivery of social housing. People have... The one thing I would agree with Paschal and Darragh is people have a choice. They can have more of the same with Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, or they can have a Sinn Féin-led government that will deliver affordable, social, cost rental housing and also drive down the prices.
We're running down the clock now, so I want to ask you, Mick Barry, to tackle affordability, People Before Profit Solidarity would implement a rent freeze, an eviction ban and cap mortgage interest rates at 3%. But the government doesn't have powers to interfere in the market like that, does it?
The government needs to interfere in the market like that. The issue of mortgages that you raised there, I mean, people had, a whole load of mortgage increases in the last year and a half. And who's profiting from it? The banks and the financial institutions made more than €5 billion last year. One point I want to make briefly, Sharon, is you look behind us here, we see the city of Cork in the background. You go down the main street, Patrick Street there, within 2 square kilometres of that, we have 700 derelict buildings, 5,000 vacant properties in the city, 17,000 in the county. And once again, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael refuse.
I'm going to actually bring Marc Cathasaigh in on this.
If I could just finish,
party is also a member of this government.
Finish my point.
And part of your policy is to bring derelict and vacant properties back into the housing supply. And why are there still loads of them, as Mick Barry says, in Cork City?
It's wonderful to see parties across the board adopt Green Party policies. Cost rental has been mentioned by many of the other participants. That was a Green Party innovation in this government. Similarly, the Donohoe grants that go to vacancy and dereliction, that was a Green Party innovation. It's absolutely critical. We know that the most carbon, climate efficient home is the one that's already there.
After 5 years of a Green government, why do we not see more solar panels on people's homes?
Oh, there's 70 solar panels 70 houses every single day, 70 families who are availing of solar panels. That's driving down electricity prices and also huge investment in retrofit. Over 1,000 homes per week are being retrofitted under this government.
We're right out of time. Marc Cathasaigh of the Green Party, Mick Barry of People Before Profit Solidarity, Paschal Donohoe of Fine Gael, Thomas Gould of Sinn Féin and Darragh O'Brien of Fianna Fáil. I felt like a tongue twister that time, but thank you all for joining us this evening.